Hello everybody, welcome to episode 92 of Short Viewers. Today we'll be going over Chapter 4 of Haunted Peak, entitled Cadaver. Now this chapter starts off with us getting a little bit of a myth tale. We see as we were told of a story of a woman who had previously lived on a mountain, presumably the mountain we discussed in... Well, I don't know what to say is this. I believe it's just a mountain. But this woman lived on a mountain, and one day a rich man, well-known man from the village, came up to the mountain, found her, and took her hand in marriage, kind of forcefully. Ultimately, she did not want to live down there in the village, so she ran back up to the mountain, and in his rage, the husband went up, killed her on the mountain, and her spirit lived vengefully on that mountain ever since. But then we see, as we get to our actual protagonist, we get to see Miko, and he's still talking with Mayu, and he's talking with her, and she's just kind of discussing more about what happened to the man up on the mountain, how she was the one actually beaten by his wife. And she's talking, and she ultimately Miko suggests that he is going to go up there and try and record him to see if there's anything going on. And Mayu is also ultimately like, what if he's burying his wife up there? We don't want a second body up there. And ultimately, they kind of break up the conversation. Miko tells Mayu how to make sure his mom gets the food that she made for him. And he heads off. So he goes back home, and he's discussing with his dad about how he sold the mountain to a real creep, and how he's still angry about it, about him actually selling the mountain without Miko's knowledge. And he's like, "Hey, don't be mad at me." And he said, if your granddad wanted you to have the mountain, he would have wrote it in a will. And he's like, there was a will? Miko's like, there was a will, and and then his father's like, we never found a will. If he would have wrote a will, he said, that he never found a will, and he gave Miko full permission to go and look through his granddad's quarters if he wanted to possibly find a will. We see that Miko actually just went to his room, and he's laying down, he's looking at his phone, he sees that Roka and Momiji are farming him because they took a picture on the mountain. He's like, how dare she try and farm likes off of my mountain. And then we see the next day as Miko heads up to the mountain. He goes up there quite early. It's not nighttime, it's not dark yet. It's just a normal daytime. And he goes up there, and he is determined to get the masked dude on film of him burying his wife, which Miko now presumes is what he is doing because of Mayu's suggestion. So he goes up there, and he sees a tarp over the foundation area, and he's like, did he just put a foundation on the tarp? He's a question about how the dude actually gets up here, because he never sees a car or anything. But yeah, and then he looks a little bit closer, and he realizes that there looks to be a body underneath this tarp. So he goes to investigate, and ultimately he walks up and pulls the tarp off in suspense and possible confusion at what is under here. He pulls it off. It is, in fact, not a body. It is the dude. He's sleeping under here. He's got, his bottles of water and crap like that, and he's just laying under in the center of the foundation. And obviously, this startles Miko, so he, jumps back, and we see is the dude. Okay, so the dude, his face, we actually get to see his eyes for the first time. Now, one of his eyes appears to be blinded. It has a whited out pupil, so I presume it's either a false eye or he is blind in that eye. But the other one is lively and black. It has a black pupil. So I presume that he sees Miko here, and we're going to see a confrontation between the two here in a later chapter. Yeah, this chapter was a lot better than the previous one. Now, yes, the previous chapter I did enjoy because it gave more development towards who the dude actually was and all that. We got to learn more of his background story, or the masked dude. But I didn't like the odd aspects of the last chapter. However, this chapter didn't have any odd aspects. It was just really good and really cool. We actually get to see Miko hopefully becoming less of a fiend for Momiji by hating on her farming his mountain. But yeah, so that's all there really actually was for Chapter 4 of Haunted Peak. Now, like I said, titled Cadaver. Now, that chapter was only 18 pages, but a lot of the pages didn't really have much dialogue, so that's why it was such a short chapter. But yeah, like I said, that's all I really have for Chapter 4 of Haunted Peak, and all I really have for episode 92 of Short Reviews. So thank you very much for watching.